A firm's profitability is fundamentally driven by two factors: the external environment, or the industry in which it competes, and the firm's internal resources and capabilities, which allow it to deliver unique value to customers within that industry. This lecture focuses on understanding why we should care about internal analysis, or the analysis of a firm's resources and capabilities that allow it to deliver unique value to its customers. Why should we care about internal analysis?
There are at least two reasons. First, it seems that external analysis is simply incomplete. Consider a doctor who diagnoses a human injury by only looking at the skin. We can imagine that an X-ray looking inside the body would provide more detailed information. The same is true for organizations.
To highlight this point, let's take a look at the average profitability of standard U.S. industries from 1971 to 1990. Here you can see that there is wide variation in profitability across industries. Some industries are far more profitable than others, which makes them much more attractive. These are the kinds of statistics that industry analysis is designed to explain. And quite frankly, industry analysis does a nice job of explaining this variation in industry profitability. In the pharmaceutical industry, for example, buyer power is low, supplier power is low, threat of entry is low, threat of substitutes is low, and industry rivalry is generally low. A simple five forces analysis of the pharmaceuticals industry suggests that this should be a very attractive and profitable industry for firms who are already in the industry. If we took the time to analyze the other industries shown here, we would probably be able to predict the relative profits using the tools of external analysis. But what happens if we look inside these industries? For illustrative purposes, let's look more deeply at the highest and lowest performing industries: pharmaceuticals and iron and steel. Here is the average company profitability for the major companies within each industry. As you can see, the average profitability in the pharmaceutical industry is quite high. But there's also a lot of variation within the industry. American Home Products has an ROA of 19%, while American Cyanamid has an ROA of only 7%, a 12 percentage point spread. At the same time, the average profitability in the iron and steel industry is quite low, but there's also a lot of variation within the industry. Oregon Steel Mills has an ROA of 12%, while LTV has an ROA of -3%, a 15 percentage point spread. There seems to be a similar spread in both the highest and lowest performing industries. What I want to point out here, however, is that the best performing companies in the worst industry actually outperform the worst performing companies in the best industry. Oregon Steel Mills, for example, outperforms three major players in the pharmaceutical industry: Upjohn, Pfizer, and American Cyanamid. So what does this tell us? This tells us that although industry analysis is important in helping us to gauge the overall attractiveness of an industry, it doesn't tell you everything you need to know. This also tells us that simply being in the best industry doesn't necessarily guarantee outstanding profits, nor does being in the worst industry preclude you from having outstanding profits.